Hi everyone, in this video I will discuss the foundational principle for battling anxiety and overcoming it. While depression usually happens in episodes where there will be a few days or even months where a person can get depressed, anxiety seems to be prolonged. It seems to be going on and on and on. Every day, a person with anxiety seems to be wondering when is going to be the next panic attack, what is going to happen next. Everything seems they are anxious of almost everything. I mean, I was anxious of everything as a person who had been suffering for anxiety disorder for more than 10 years. I was like anxious of almost everything. Like if I go out, I'm anxious. If I sit down, I'm anxious. Everything seems to be fearful. And if I'm going to have a meeting, I'm going to be having a social anxiety. So anxiety is it's very stressful thing, and it seems to steal every ounce of joy that can life can bring. Even when you're going to a party, you can get anxious. Even if you're happy, you can get anxious. Even if there's an happy incident, you'll get anxious. Or I used to get anxious. At least I'm talking about myself. So if anxiety is you're suffering from some anxiety like this, and I want to discuss the basic principle from which I started to heal. I wouldn't say it happened overnight or within few months, but it gave me a gap, a good gap to start healing, and over the years become stronger and stronger. So that is what I'm going to discuss in this video. So the foundational principle is the opposite of fear is faith. Fear is doubting everything. What if this happens? What if something had happened yesterday? It Anxiety can be happened. What if something had happened day before yesterday? What if something had happened last year? What if something happens tomorrow? Anxiety about the past, the present, and future. It's like doubts in your mind. Everything seems to be doubtful. Something is going to go wrong everywhere. So the opposite of fear is faith. I know faith is a very commonly used term, and everybody knows we need to have faith, but nobody really understands how to practice faith, because it's a very difficult thing to practice, especially when you're anxious. If somebody comes and says have faith, put all your burdens on God, and then you will be like, how am I supposed to do that? I can't even think right now. I can't even think rationally, leave alone praying. So that is the thing. The foundational principle is that you can overcome fear with faith. But how to cultivate this faith, how to work on this faith? So the first thing is, every anxious thought that comes to your mind, every anxious thought, take a note of it and do not deal with it. Do not reply to the anxious thought. If there's an anxious thought, for example, what if I do not pass this interview, which you're going for an interview? Do not deal with that anxious thought. Just put it in God's hands. Every single it's about every single thought that comes in your mind. Especially this happens especially when you're going to sleep. That's when you unwind for the day, and every anxious thought seems to come to your brain and say like, what if you don't get sleep? That's my very anxious. What if I can't sleep? How will I function tomorrow? So that is the main anxious thought, for me. So I will put every anxious thought. I won't answer that anxious thought. I'll not anxious like, what if I don't sleep? I'll not tell myself, okay, I'll sleep for 2 hours during the day or something. I'll not give. I'll say whatever. What if thought is going to go into the hands of God? I am not going to deal with this thought. I know this is a very tough leap of faith, but we have to do that in small things, in small anxious thoughts during the day, during the night, as much as possible. Maybe take some time, half an hour during the day, twice a day, just to sit, have all your anxious thoughts, and put it in God's hands. The problem with some of the meditation techniques where they tell you to focus on things is that there is an open loop. Your anxious thoughts are not dealt with. So the main thing that we are insecure, we are fearful, is that there is a lot of troubles in this world. There are a lot of problems in this world, and we are not in control. We know that we are not in control, and we can never be in control. So it's going to be a never ending loop. So we have to give the control to somebody who can be in control, who's God. Whether you think that there will always be a battle, like, what if God can't do it? What if God can't do it? We need to overcome that and say, I don't know, but only possible person who can do anything about this is God, and I'm going to transfer the responsibility into God's hands. So the transference of responsibility is the foundational principle of overcoming anxiety. It is not just ignoring the thought. You can ignore if you're strong, but people who are anxious generally can't ignore because they are totally into it. They're totally panic struck by it. So even the panic attack, even the every sensation that comes in your body, just transfer everything. It's a practice that has to be done every single day. We have to practice every day in transferring responsibility into God's hands. And this is the battle between the flesh versus the spirit. The flesh man will say, no, I want to be in control. But you have to train your mind to transfer the control to God's hands and let God control the situations. And you just do your daily duties. Every day you do your daily duties, but don't let yourself think that you are in control. So you have to transfer control, and that needs to be done every day with every single thought. It all starts with a thought. The thought dictates the biology of your body. A thought can disrupt how you feel, and it all starts with the thought. And of course, if you are a strong person, you can ignore the thought. But people with anxiety disorder, generally they are unable to ignore the thought. It fires a bunch of very stressful emotions like panic attacks, the worst case, or stiffness in the body, or vague inability to think, to act at that point. So the foundational principle is transferring responsibility of every thought in front from your hands to God's hands. There are other ways also, but this will be the foundational principle on which to overcome or battle anxiety. If you are blessed by this video, or you think anybody would be blessed by this video, please pass this video to them.